Blessed is the match consumed in kindling flame. Blessed is the flame that burns in the secret places of the heart. Blessed is the heart with strength to stop its beating for honor's sake. Blessed is the match consumed in kindling flame. We kindle our chalice today in memory of the dedication and courage of the Maccabees and for all those who struggle for freedom.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Des Moines. I'm Reverend Amy Petrie-Shaw. My pronouns are they, them, and theirs, and I'm speaking to you today from the traditional land of the indigenous Iowa people. Heidi Levine is our celebrant. Barb Martin is our song leader. Bruce Martin is our pianist today. And Jean McCracken is the pastoral care associate for this week. Lyra Halston, our membership coordinator, is here with us. And if you are new and would like to be connected to our online groups or would like any additional information about First Unitarian, please contact her through the email address in the chat. We're going to be talking about the ideas of Hanukkah today and little miracles. And so we're going to open with a traditional prayer. I wanted you to hear the beauty of this. This is a Hanukkah blessing, usually done over the menorah. And so I'm going to do part, but I want you to hear what this sounds like. So if you'll give me just a second, I'm going to try this.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Hannukah.
In English, blessed are you, Lord our God, ruler of the universe, who makes us holy with commandments and has commanded us to light the Hanukkah lights. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'aseh nisim lavatnu bayamim hahem bazmam hezith. Blessed are you, Lord our God, ruler of the universe, for having brought miracles for our ancestors in those days and at that time. Because we all know miracles don't go on and on forever. So blessed are you for bringing those miracles. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Blessed are you, Lord our God, ruler of the universe. It's used over and over again. Who has kept us, sustained us, and let us get to this joyous occasion. Blessed are you, Spirit of divine humanity, which calls us to see the sacred in every human face. Blessed are you, Spirit of life and love, which calls us to be the miracle in these times. Come, let us be in community here together. We just ask that you keep your mics muted during the service. After the service, everyone is welcome to turn on your microphone, and please join us in the coffee hour breakout rooms.
In the Alphabet of Grace, Frederick Buechner writes, "A miracle is when the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. A miracle is when 1 + 1 = 1,000. Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Des Moines, where we daily strive to live into our promise to be more than the sum of our parts. I am Heidi Levine. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I have the joy of serving as celebrant for today's service. No matter who you are or where you have come from, you are welcome here whether or not you live in Des Moines or have ever physically been at First Unitarian. Whoever you are, we hope that you find some miracles here. Our gathering song this morning is number 346, Come Sing a Song With Me. The words will be copied in the chat screen. Please keep your mics muted and simply sing along at home as you wish.
Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time.
Thank you so much, Barb. Our story for all ages this morning is really wonderful. It's called Hanukkah Lights Everywhere. It's by Michael J. Rosen, and Sawyer Evans is going to read it for us.
Hi, my name is Sawyer Evans, and I'm going to be reading Hanukkah Lights Everywhere by Michael Rosen. On the night before Hanukkah, we ready the house for company. My sister helps Dad make up the extra beds, and Mom peels apples for applesauce. I put a new box of candles by the menorah that has waited all year, just like me, for the Festival of Lights. On the first night of Hanukkah, we say the prayers and light one candle with the tall helper candle. Outside, the skinny moon beams like a proud candle flame against the dark sky. On the second night of Hanukkah, two headlights aim right through the window into the living room, where my sister and I spin the dreidel on the floor. Grandpa is here on the third night of Hanukkah. I switch on the lamps out front so that my cousins who are coming to visit can find the door, and suddenly there are 3 more lights, like in our menorah. On the fourth night of Hanukkah, I find 4 lights in the kitchen. Mum fries up platters full of latkes, and 4 flames flicker under the sizzling skillets in the pots steaming on the stove. On the 5th night of Hanukkah, my great-grandma gives me 5 shiny silver dollars, 1 for every birthday I've had. When I line them up on my hand, they stretch from a tippy-top fingertip, past my wrist, and up my arm. They sparkle like 5 more lights in the candle's glow. On the 6th night of Hanukkah, my family takes a walk down the snow-covered streets, and guess what? 6 other houses have menorahs gleaming in the windows. On the 7th night of Hanukkah, at my best friend's house, where he celebrates Christmas, a lamp with just one bulb burns in each window. 7 altogether, just like in our menorah tonight. Dad says that Hanukkah is also about the joy of different religions sharing a street. On the 8th night of Hanukkah, I find all 7 stars in the Big Dipper, plus the famous North Star, above us, as though God, too, was lighting his own menorah in the sky. And on the 9th night, which isn't even Hanukkah anymore, and the next night after that, and even today, I still see things that remind me of our menorah, and I think about Hanukkah, and about being Jewish is such a wild world of so many other lights.
Thank you, Sawyer, for that. That was wonderfully well read. Our offertory words this morning are done with my usual seriousness and grace. A minister and a taxi driver both died and went to heaven, and St. Peter was at the pearly gates waiting for them. "Come with me," said St. Peter to the taxi driver. The taxi driver did as he was told, and he followed St. Peter to a mansion. It had everything you could imagine, from a bowling alley to an Olympic-sized pool. "Wow, thank you," said the taxi driver. Next, good old St. Pete led the minister to a rugged shack with a bunk bed and a little old black and white TV set. "Wait a minute, I think this is a mistake. Shouldn't I be the one who gets the mansion?" said the minister. "I was a minister. I went to church every day. I preached every Sunday." "Yeah, that's true," said St. Pete, rubbing his head, "but during your sermons, people slept. When the taxi driver drove, everybody prayed." So that I might continue to lull you all to sleep on a weekly basis, the morning offering will now be given and received through the link in the chat. 1/2 of our electronic plate goes to our internal social justice programs, and 1/2 to our Faith in Action partners, Planned Parenthood and El Éxito. As part of what we do as a church, we have been working with asylum seeker Brianna, and we're going to have a quick spotlight now on what's going on with that with Sue Huber and Brianna.
Hi, my name is Sue Huber, and I'm a member of the Immigration Justice Team at First Unitarian Church. I would like to introduce you to Brianna Lopez. She is a transgender woman from Honduras. She is here seeking asylum in the United States due to her fear of living in her home country. As a person seeking asylum in the United States, she is able to be here legally, and she will be able to work once she gets a work permit. The process for the work permit takes 12 months at this time. Due to this, Brianna needs support for her living expenses. At this time, the Iowa Sanctuary Movement is providing that support. I would like to introduce Brianna Lopez.
Hi, my name is Brianna. Soy natal de Honduras.
Hi, my name is Brianna, and I was born in Honduras.
Y me siento muy satisfecha, muy feliz, que estoy alrededor de personas que me siguen ayudando y me están ayudando y me están apoyando y me siento muy feliz por eso.
I am very happy and very satisfied to be here among people who have been supporting me and helping me for this time.
Y para mí es un gran placer ver caído a sus manos. Siento que son las personas perfectas, a pesar que a mi alrededor pues todo el mundo pues está con homofobia y todo, hasta mi familia, pues ellos me apoyan y me siento muy feliz.
I'm very happy that people are here able to support me in my home country. People are very homophobic, and here nobody is, and that I appreciate their love and support of me. The Iowa Sanctuary Movement is a program that is providing support to Brianna and other members of our community who are seeking asylum. If you would like to support the Iowa Sanctuary Movement, please donate on the First Unitarian website. Their website is UCDSM.org. Once you go to that website, go to the Give link, and then scroll down to online giving, and there'll be a section that says Iowa Sanctuary Movement. Please donate there.
Thank you.
I'm so glad that we as a community have made the commitment to support Brianna because church is about being a community. I remind us every week that the church isn't the building, which is especially important right now while we're out of the building. A church is the community. It's the community of human beings, human hands and human hearts. And we come together to share laughter and to share tears and to be there with one another at the times when we need other people. We have a few sorrows that were sent in this week. Nikki Keller and her family have COVID. So please spare some good thoughts for them. Hold them in your hearts this week. Nikki's been pretty sick. Barb Glass sent in that I am sad to share with those who knew her and loved her that Cassandra Amesley, a prior member of the church community, died November 22nd in Minneapolis, her home for many years. Per Jewish policy, she was buried within 48 hours, followed by an online service in Shiva. Her dear friend Sonia Howder, also a prior church member, and husband Bernie were her dearest and most steadfast friends, so please hold them in your thoughts. I ask also, and I need to pull it up, in New York this week, the historic church burned. Please hold in your hearts all those affected by the burning. And I'm sorry they sent it too late for me to be able to look it up. But it's a community like our own. I ask now that you share in the chat box the names of anyone you know who could use some special care and attention. And as we type their names into the chat, may the love of this community hold them all. May the light of our community shine on the broken places of the world. May we travel together with all those who fight for equity and justice in human relations. May the work of our hands and our hearts support and comfort all those who are marginalized, oppressed, silenced, or at risk. May we be called to mindful action by the needs of those who struggle against violence, pain, destruction, and degradation. May those who are grieving be comforted. May you be comforted. May those who are tired find rest. May you find rest. May the broken places be healed. May you be healed. And may those who are filled with joy and laughter be abundant. Every week, I light 3 candles, and I light one for the joys and the sorrows that we've shared, and one for the names that we've written, and one last candle for all the joys and all of the sorrows which we hold deeply in our hearts, but which we haven't spoken aloud here today.
Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul.
Our first reading today is a traditional Hasidic Jewish response to the question, where is holiness? It finds holiness not in formal ritual or important books, but in moments of human love, support, and community. There is holiness when we strive to be true to the best we know. There is holiness when we are kind to someone who cannot possibly be of service to us. There is holiness when we promote family harmony. There is holiness when we forget what divides us and remember what unites us. There is holiness when we are willing to be laughed at for what we believe in. There is holiness when we love truly, honestly, and unselfishly. There is holiness when we remember the lonely and bring cheer into a dark corner. There is holiness when we share our bread, our ideas, our enthusiasms. There is holiness when we gather to pray in the spirit of life, which gave us the power to pray. Holy, holy, holy is the divine. May all the earth be filled with the glory of nature.
Thank you, Heidi. Kulalam is a social musical initiative meant to bring together people from any and all walks of life. And their idea is to simply stop everything for a few hours and just sing, just to sing together. So a few years ago, on February 14th of 2018, Kulalam invited 3,000 people who had never met before to Haifa to sing in Arabic and English and Hebrew to celebrate coexistence in collaboration with Bet HaGeffen, the Haifa municipality, and the Port of Haifa. So everybody came together to pull this off. And the song was Matishyehu's One Day. They pulled this off with an hour's practice, 3,000 people, one director. It was absolutely a little miracle of faith in humanity. So our meditation today is simply listening and watching what they did. And I'm going to paste the words in the chat, but I want you to hear this and to see this.
Our second reading is from a Syrian poet, Najat Abdul Samad, an OBGYN physician, and it was translated by another Syrian poet, Ghada Alatrash. Samad lives and works in Sweda in the south of Syria. Sweda has been spared much of the violence and has served as a haven for refugees. Still, Samad's poetry is haunted by their images. Poets like Samad and Alatrash risk their lives to write and translate these words about little miracles of endurance and bravery. When I am overcome by weakness. When I am overcome with weakness, I bandage my heart with a woman's patience in adversity. I bandage it with the upright posture of a Syrian woman who is not bent by bereavement, poverty, or displacement as she rises from the banquets of death and carries on shepherding life's rituals. She prepares for a creeping, ravenous winter and gathers the heavy firewood branches, stick by stick, from the frigid wilderness. She does not cut a tree, does not steal, does not surrender her soul to weariness, does not ask anyone's charity, does not fold with the load, and does not yield midway. I bandage my heart with the determination of that boy they hit with an electric stick, yet he returned and walked in the next demonstration. I bandage it with the steadiness of a child steps in the snow of a refugee camp, a child wearing a small black shoe on one foot and a large blue sandal on the other, wandering off and singing to butterflies flying in the sunny skies, butterflies and skies seen only by his eyes. I bandage it with December's frozen tree roots, trees that have sworn to blossom in March or April. I bandage it with the voice of reason that was not affected by approximate desolation. I bandage it with veins whose warm blood has not yet been spilled on the surface of our sacred soil. I bandage it with what was entrusted by our martyrs, with the conscience of the living, and with the image of a beautiful homeland envisioned by the eyes of the poor.
Our centering song is Light One Candle. It's 221 in the hymnal, or the words are in the chat box.
one candle for the Maccabee children, with thanks that their light didn't die. Light one candle for the pain they endured when their right to exist was denied. Light one candle for the terrible sacrifice justice and freedom demand. But light one candle for the wisdom to know when the peacemaker's time is at hand. Don't let the light go out. It's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out as it shines through our love and our tears. Light one candle for the strength that we need to never become our own foe. Light one candle for those who are suffering the pain we learned so long ago. Light one candle for all we believe in, that anger won't tear us apart. And light one candle to bring us together with peace and a song in our heart. Don't let the light go out. It's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out. Let it shine through our love and our tears. What is the memory that's valued so highly? We keep it alive in our flame. What's the commitment to those who have died when we cry out they're not died in vain? Have we come so far in believing that justice prevail? This is a burden and this is a promise, and this is why we will not fail. Don't let the light go out. It's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out as it shines through our love and our tears.
Thank you so much, Barb and Bruce. Poet named Jan Richardson wrote a poem called "Blessed Are You Who Bear the Light." So blessed are you who bear the light in unbearable times, who testify to its endurance amid the unendurable, who bear witness to its persistence when everything seems in shadow and grief. Blessed are you in whom the light lives, in whom the brightness blazes, your heart a chapel, an altar, where in the deepest night it can be seen, the fire that shines forth in you, an uncountable faith in stubborn hope, in love that illuminates every broken thing it finds. That seemed to me particularly apropos right about now. Hanukkah is about healing and illuminating and miraculous light. And the underlying story is simple. Some of you know it. This is based on what Tracy R. Rich wrote, the historian. Hanukkah actually begins under the reign of Alexander the Great. And so Alexander conquers Syria and Palestine and Egypt, but Alexander was fairly reasonable. So he let the people he conquered keep practicing their own religions, quite a bit of autonomy. He was pretty benevolent. And so a lot of Jews assimilated to Greek or Hellenistic culture. They adopted the language and the customs and the dress of the Greeks. They fit in. But more than a century later, Antiochus IV came to power. And he didn't like the Jews. He started to oppress them. He put a Greek priest in the Jewish temple. He massacred Jews. He prohibited the practice of the Jewish religion. He basically invited a Greek squadron into the Jewish temple and had them throw a party. They trashed the place. think of typical frat party. So these guys came in and they threw food and wine and they knocked things down. They sacrificed pigs on the altar. Two groups opposed Antiochus, a nationalistic group led by Mattathias the Hasmonean and his son Judah Maccabee, and a religious traditionalist group, the forerunners of the Pharisees. So those two groups, the Maccabees and these early Pharisees, and they joined forces in revolt, both against the assimilation of the Greek Jews and the oppression of the Greek government. And they won. They won. And according to the tradition as recorded in the Talmud, at the time that they won, they went into this temple where pigs had been being sacrificed. They were horrified. They couldn't worship their God until they got it cleaned up. They all started cleaning and cleaning and cleaning. And at the time the temple was due to be rededicated, there was very little oil left that the Greeks had not desecrated. And they needed oil for the menorah, the candle light lamp that was supposed to burn throughout the night every night. This was a sacred practice. There was only enough oil for one day, yet miraculously it burned for 8 days, the time needed to prepare and bless a fresh supply of oil. An 8-day festival was declared to commemorate this miracle. So officially, Hanukkah commemorates the miracle of the oil, not the military victory. Jews do not glorify war. 8 days. So 8 days of meditation, deep thought, prayer, and remembering a miracle. 8 days of thinking about what a miracle means to us. But there's a deeper level to that story that's involved in mystic Jewish thought that is much more appropriate for our UU thinking. There's a meaning that can illuminate our own search for personal truth. Some of you may be familiar with the Kabbalah. Kabbalah means just to receive. And Kabbalah is a set of mystic Jewish teaching meant to explain the relationship between an unchanging, eternal, and mysterious infinity called the Ein Sof, and the mortal and finite universe of the world, all the physical things, all the beings. This is not about what you believe in. It's not about how you describe the ultimate or the infinite, or that the divine is personal. It is a set of ways of looking at how the eternal and the non-eternal are connected. I've heard it referred to as the physics behind Judaism. Hasidic Judaism says that God is all and all is God, and that what we think of as the real world is simply a version of God appearing in another form. So in one sense, if God is everything, God is nothing. For some mystics, the ultimate goal is to have the spiritual and physical elements of life as reconciled as you can get them, so that physical life is a reflection of some type of cosmic harmony. So in mystic thought, the temple represents that point where creation, the ultimate, the eternal, and the finite, the earthly, are in perfect balance. A study of perfect opposites, body illuminating spirit, spirit illuminating body. There is no longer some kind of external divine at that point for them. The rabbi who founded the Hasidic movement said the temple was a place of reflective symmetry. Rabbi Harav Ginsburg says that reflective symmetry is the result of two inverse elements possessing a hidden reference to each other. So think yin and yang. By defining themselves in perfect contrast to one another, these elements enter into a symmetrical bond which attests to an underlying unity, forming their common source, darkness and light. Light itself possesses the potential to blind one with its radiance, thus testifying to the source of darkness within light. So does darkness hold the potential for illumination, the power of the color black to shine. Where does that get us? It gets us here. The temple was desecrated. In Kabbalah, this represents the places in our lives where we're broken from the sacred, where we're broken from where we want to be, where we're broken from harmony. Because none of this is about worshiping anything. Kabbalah isn't about that. These places where we're broken are the places where we offend against ourselves and the natural order by devaluing ourselves or other pieces of the web. For UUs, this desecration is the place where we act as if we don't belong to a linked web, the place where we forget the value of other humans and deny meaning to other pieces of finite creation. So that's that desecration of the temple. When the temple was cleaned and the lamps relit, a miracle occurred. They burned for 8 days. Did that really happen? Nobody knows that. But for mystics, what matters is the faith and trust that were shown. When the Jews chose to light those lamps, even though there wasn't enough oil, they lit them anyway. No one has ever suggested that they lit them and said, well, we bet some external God is going to cause a miracle. Some external God is going to miraculously keep this oil burning. Nobody, nowhere has ever said that they thought that. They didn't think that. They thought, oh, goodness, we are in trouble. There is not enough oil. The oil burning for 8 days, that wasn't the miracle. Those Jews saw that there wasn't enough and they lit them anyway. They reached for the light in the darkness. Their faith that light would come, that was the miracle. Their trust was the miracle. Those human beings believing that the universe was good, having the guts to believe that the universe was good, they were the miracle. As pieces of finite existence, they aren't gods, they're people. They reached out and they said, let there be light. They said, I will create light where there's darkness. I will. And I will trust that more light will come. Was there a miracle? I don't know. I tend to think that each day they made a small amount of oil and got it ready and got it blessed and poured it in at night. But that's just me because I'm a skeptic. The miracle was that they believed. When we are faced with the places in our lives where there's just no way, where we can't imagine having the strength to live our values and do what we believe is right, when we are broken, when we're confronted with a world of violence and despair, that's the minute to light our lamp anyway. To reach for the light in the darkness, to say, let there be light, and trust that more light will come. Hanukkah calls for us to be the light. It calls for us to see the reflective symmetry, to recognize our own divinity and divine power, even wrapped in finite form. Hanukkah calls for you to be the miracle. Those of us who celebrate Hanukkah, each night we light a candle for 8 nights, and we examine a different aspect of the desire for reconciliation between the finite and the infinite, that web of existence. And each night we draw closer to that reconciliation. We dive more deeply into that contemplation and what it means to be alive. On the first night, the night those Jews took a leap of faith and lit those lamps, we contemplate the divinity of all things, the linked web. It's all one thing. There's no God somewhere out there. It's all one thing, finite and infinite, reflecting itself. When we draw closer to that reconciliation, we dive more deeply. Those men who dared to light lamps dared to say there will be light, and so we dare to see that we are sacred by the fact that we exist. On the second night, the night they realized the lamps had not gone out, we're called to study and attempt to understand written and spoken wisdom. It reminds us, as you use, the search for truth and meaning never ends. They stood in the light they had created, wondered how it was possible. We have to wonder about our lives too. We have to seek out understanding of our personal truths. On the third night, the night they looked for answers and couldn't deny that something miraculous was happening, we're called to remember our own ancestors and to recognize that our understanding is tied to our spiritual body and our place and our culture, our privilege and our circumstance. We are because generations willed that we should be. We're the end result of generations of life. On that fourth night, the night they stopped questioning and simply worshiped, we're reminded to recognize love as the connection between all things. Sometimes the good things just happen. Sometimes it's just about love. Sometimes you don't have to deserve it. Sometimes you don't have to feel worthy of it. Don't kick your own feet out from under you when life is going better than you think it should. On the fifth night, we're reminded of the need for harmony between opposites. We can't be at peace unless our neighbor's at peace, because each of us is part of the other. The sixth night symbolizes the days of creation. It reminds us to choose to either be our brother's keeper or his murderer. We pick good or bad. Will we help heal the world? Will we help to destroy it? Who are we? On the seventh night, we recognize the patterns of existence. How many times do we struggle with the same fears? How many times do we go around again? On the eighth night, new sacred oil was ready and the lamps were refilled. The miracle was over, but light had won. On the eighth night, we're rejuvenated and rededicated like the temple. Human agency has become the source of results, a miracle of the spirit. A renewal based not on winning a physical fight, but on faith in the good and trust and daring to be the miracle. Our world feels like a dangerous place right now. COVID, divided, unrest. Hanukkah gives us a lens of hope for everything going on. It tells us that we too can be the miracle. Even when we can't see the whole picture, we can take the first step in the right direction. There's a great Jewish story that says when they were fleeing Egypt, they reached the Red Sea. It didn't just part like you see in the Christian version. One man whose name has gone down in history, Nashon ben Aminadabav, he walked up to that roaring sea, trusting it would be all right because Moses told him so. And the sea only parted when Nashon walked into the water up to his nose and then took the next step. It didn't part till then, until somebody had the faith to try it. What's this mean? It means trust yourselves. It means think about whether it's 8 nights or 5 nights or 7 nights, doesn't matter. You can celebrate Hanukkah itself. You can celebrate Chalukah. You can celebrate a holiday of your own choosing. But if you celebrate Hanukkah every night for 8 nights, light a Hanukkah candle and remember the temple. Walk into the water. Have faith in yourself. Light the lamps. Be the miracle. Thank you for listening.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, warmth of community, or fire of commitment. These we carry in our minds and hearts until we are together again. Our final song today is number 223, Rock of Ages, Letter Song. The words will be in the chat screen. Please keep your mics muted as long as you wish.
Rock of ages, let our song praise your saving power. You amidst the raging foes were our sheltering tower. Raging they assailed us, but your arm availed us, and your word broke their sword when our own strength failed us. Kindling you the holy lamps, priests unbowed by suffering, purified the nation's shrine, brought to God their offering, and in lands surrounding, hear the joy abounding. Happy throngs singing songs with a mighty sounding. Children of the prophet's word, whether free or fettered, wake the echoes of the songs where you may be scattered. Yours the message cheering that the time is nearing, which shall see nations free, tyrants disappearing.
The service has ended and your service in the world begins again. You are the miracle. You are the change that has been promised. So carry your candle into the world and fight for love and freedom. Peace, Ashe, and may it be so.
This lady is American.